Have you set out to accomplish something, but you're only getting little results and you're getting discouraged, maybe even depressed? Maybe you started a YouTube channel, but you've only gotten a few subscribers, little views. Maybe you've written a book, and after your family and close friends purchase the book, you're getting very little sales. Maybe you're trying to lose weight and you put forth a lot of effort, but you stood on the scale and only lost a little bit of weight. Maybe you started some sort of business where you have a product or a service and you're only getting small clients. You're only getting a little sales. Listen, if that's you, you're not here by accident. This is a video most definitely for you, because today I'm going to be teaching you a principle that's going to take you from a little bit to a whole lot with this one principle. And who am I? I'm Billy Miller, the motivational minister. And one of the things I do is I help people to improve their lives by teaching them life skills from the Bible. I cause people to go from the position that they're at now to a higher one. Even if they're already on a high level, even if they're already established in the word, once they connect with me and my teaching gifts and my ministry and my books, it causes them to go even higher. And today, I'm going to be teaching you how celebrating small victories can lead you to big victories. Walk with me. And listen, it's not going to take me that long to break down this one principle that's going to help you go from this level to the next level. Let me tell you the story. It was a man who set out to plant some grass. He didn't have any grass in his yard, so he planted some seeds and he waited. And a little stem grew up. When he saw that little stem, that man jumped up and started celebrating. He started praising God. He started shouting for joy. And his neighbor looked at him, because his neighbor, he got his yard, but looking at him and like, why are you so excited? It's nothing but a blade grew up. And the man said, yeah, but the process working. And listen, that's what I want you to zoom in on. That's what I want you to focus on. You set out goals and you're getting little results. Rather than get discouraged, rather than being disappointed, get excited because the process is working. All right. And let me show you the scripture right here. This is Zechariah chapter 4, verse 10. This is the New Living Translation. And it says, do not despise these small beginnings. Don't despise, don't ignore, don't reject, don't refuse to accept small beginnings. Why? For the Lord rejoices to see the work begin. Even the Lord rejoices to see that the process has begun. The process is working. Listen, the process is working. Somebody write that in the comment section. Write, the process is working. Because that's what I want you to zoom in on. And listen, if the Lord himself rejoices at the truth that you got the process working, shouldn't you rejoice? If God is rejoicing, shouldn't you rejoice? Let me tell you another story. This is a true story. When I was working as a manager in a restaurant in a hotel, it was this man there who was a cook. We'll call him L. And L was a cook, and he needed a raise. Financially, he set out a goal. He said, I want to make, I can't remember the exact number, but it was like $3 to $5 out. He needed like $3 to $5 more an hour. And so he was trusting God for this increase. And he was making his confession in his daily declaration, set his goal. And when the raises came out, he got $1 raise. And the other cooks around him was kind of messing with him, was like, you ain't get that $3 to $5 like he was talking about. He said, no, but I got $1. And most everybody else got a dime. And that was true. I was one of the ones that got a dime. Now, I wasn't one of the ones that was marketing, but I remember everybody got 10, 15-cent rate, but he got $1. But listen, he wasn't disappointed that he got $1. He wasn't disappointed that he got $1. This is the part I want you to zoom in on now. He still was thankful. He was grateful. He praised God for the dollar. It wasn't the $3 to $5 he asked for, but he got $1. But he had a right attitude towards that dollar. Later on, fast forward, he eventually became the sous chef. He was just a cook. So he got way more than $1 an hour. And he eventually went from sous chef to a head chef. And to this day, he's still a chef. I want you to get what I'm saying. Listen to this. Just read this quote right here by Joyce Meyer. She says, small beginnings are the launching pad to great endings. When you're starting to see little results, I want you to get excited. Why? Number one, the process is working. And number two, just knowing in your mind, knowing your knower, knowing deep down in your soul, this is just the launching pad to great endings. Oh, but Billy, it's just a little bit. Well, if you'll just rejoice about that little bit, it's going to be a launching pad to great endings. You got to have this right attitude. Oh, let's see. I'm missing a book. Where's my book at? Oh, here it is. So let me give you another story real quick. I don't want to hold you long. This is a story of a teacher. This was years ago, and he was making $25,000 a year. This was years ago, so you know that even back then that wasn't even that much money. But he set out a goal to make. He said, "This year I'm going to make $100,000 a year." He set out a goal. He wrote down this plan. How many of y'all know that if your goal is, if you don't write down your goal, if your goal is not enough to, if your goal is not important enough to write it down, it's not important. You need to check out that video when you can. Maybe I'll link it up here after the replay. I got a video on that. If Lord, I get tongue twisted. Forgive me, we lied. If your goals aren't important enough to write down, it's not important. Remember that. He wrote down his goal and he said, "Hey, I want to make $100,000 a year," and prayed about it. The next morning, God gave him his first $100,000 idea, and that was to write a book. He was a school teacher, and he wrote this book about how to enhance teaching in the classroom, how to enhance that whole thing, right? It was for teachers. And he wrote the book. The book did good. He sold a lot of copies. And I want you to listen to the results. All right. So give me 1 second. Let me find it here. Let's see if I can find it. Y'all with me? Hope y'all with me. There you go. Okay. All right. Stay with me. Stay with me. Don't go nowhere. Stay with me. Because once you get this principle down, it's going to bless your life. I'm going somewhere. I'm going somewhere. Don't stay with me. Here we go. Here we go. I want you to get the end result of this. If I can get to it. Okay, I forgot to write the page number down. And I don't think this is the one. However, that's okay because I know the story. That's okay. It's okay. I know the story. Y'all stay with me. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Come on, stay with me. Here we go. I actually found it. Okay. Sorry for that delay. I would edit that out. But, you know, those of you who are faithful who stayed, this was meant for you. If you're still here, this is meant for you. So remember this teacher, he set out a goal to make $100,000 a year. He was making $25,000 a year. He got a God idea to write a book. He wrote a book, sold a lot of copies. Here's the result. He said, let's see, as a result, my income that year skyrocketed from $25,000 to over $92,000. Follow me. He says, of course, I missed my $100,000 goal by 8,000, but I can assure you I wasn't depressed about it. Look, this is why I couldn't find the page number, because I already had written it down. Look at that. He says, as a result, my income skyrocketed from $25,000 to over $92,000. But I love this part. He said, of course, I missed my $100,000 goal by $8,000, but I can assure you I wasn't depressed about it. I wouldn't be depressed either. Look, I ain't get the 100,000 like they wanted, but I ain't mad about it. But he continued to say, on the contrary, I was ecstatic. Oh, you got to get that. He says, on the contrary, I was ecstatic. What does ecstatic mean? Ecstatic means to feel with joy, overwhelming delight. He rejoiced in this. He was excited about this. Can you do the same? Listen, this is the principle. You got to notice the common theme in these stories that I've shared with you. They got the little results. It wasn't the results they wanted, but they got the process working. And you take their attitude, how their attitude was towards the little result. That's what's going to determine the big result. I heard somebody say, I believe it was Dr. Mike Murdoch, he says, your reaction to gift number one determines gift number two. Listen, God has given you a gift, and you walk around here ungrateful, unthankful, mad, disappointed, depressed. You're messing up gift number two. But if you're thankful for the little bit that you got, well, Billy, I just got a little bit. If you rejoice over that little bit, God will open the door for the much. Can you be ecstatic? Can you celebrate the small victory? Because when you do so, it's going to lead you to the big victories. That's the common thing. Both of those stories I told you, I guarantee you, if they would have had a negative attitude about the small results they got, Elle wouldn't have never got that raise. This teacher would have never got the 93,000. Oh, let me forget. Oh, I forgot. The teacher, once he got the 93,000, right? I mean, the 92,000, he was $8,000 short, but he wasn't disappointed about it. He was ecstatic. The year after that, he set a goal to make $1 million, and he made $1 million, and he's been making $1 million ever since. Every year, he's made no less than $1 million. Are you catching this? Elle, remember the cook, because of his attitude, if he would have had a negative attitude, I think he would have been stuck at that $1 an hour. But because his attitude was good, because he was grateful, because he rejoiced at the dollar raise, he became a sous chef and eventually became a chef, which he's a chef today. This teacher, if he would have made the 93,000 and said, oh man, I just didn't make it. Oh man, this stuff don't work. Guess what? He would have cut himself short, but instead he was ecstatic. And every year after that, he's made no less than $1 million. You got time for one more story? Just one more. Come on, stay with me. Stay with me now. You chose to walk with me. Stay with me, all right? One last story. This is good if you get it. This is going to bless you if you get it. One last story. Let's see. You ever heard of the series of books called Chicken Soup for the Soul? That's a popular book series. Let me tell you a story about the authors. The author name was Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen. So listen to the story. I'm going to read. You just listen. All right. And this is Jack Canfield talking, one of the authors. He says, when I first started working with W. Clement Stone, that was his mentor, he taught me to write my most important goal on the back of my business card and carry it in my wallet at all times. Once again, if your goals are not important enough to write down, it's not important. Please go and check. I'm gonna leave that description to that video uh, in the description of this video. Make sure you check out the description of this video. A lot of people just watch videos and go to the next video. Please look at the description. I got a lot of stuff in there, especially the video about writing down your goals, because it's so important. It's so important. All right. But he says his mentor taught him to write down his most important goals on the back of his business card and carry it with him in his wallet at all times. He says, every time I will open my wallet, I will be reminded of my most important goal. When I met Mark Victor Hansen, this is the other author that I was telling you about, he says, I discovered that he too used the same technique. After finishing the first Chicken Soup for the Soul book, we wrote, this is what they wrote, I am so happy selling 1.5 million copies of Chicken Soup for the Soul by December 30th, 1994. Now listen, they haven't sold any books. This is just a vision. This is just a goal. This is a declaration, and they wrote it down, put a deadline on it. See, it's not enough to just write down a goal. It's real specific and has a time stamp on it, right? That's more on the goal setting. Check out my playlist called a goal setting series. I got a playlist of videos just on goal setting. So this is good what they did. He says, I'm so happy selling, check it out, 1.5 million copies of Chicken Soup for the Soul by December 30th, 1994. He says, we then signed each other's cards and carried them in our wallets. I still have mine in a frame behind my desk. Though our publisher laughed and told us we were crazy, we went on to sell 1.3 million copies of the book by our target date. So remember, they set out their goal was to sell 1.5 million. They only sold 1.3 million. And of course, I'm sure they wasn't depressed about it either, right? So he says, some might say, well, you missed your goal by 200,000 copies. He said, perhaps, but not by much. And that book went on to sell well over 8 million copies in over 30 languages around the world. Believe me, I can live with that kind of failure. Are you catching the theme in these stories? The theme is they didn't reach their goal. They got a small result. They were grateful and rejoiced at the result. Why? Because they see that the process is working. And as a result of their attitude towards this small result, their end result was way bigger than the original goal that they set. Did you catch that in all of those stories? L wanted a dollar raise. He became a sous chef and eventually became a chef and still is a chef. The teacher who wanted make $100,000 by the end of the year. What was the result? He wound up making no less than $1 million a year after that, way over the goal he originally set. They set out to sell 1.5 million copies. They didn't meet their goal. They rejoiced over the goal they did met. What was the result? It went on to sell 8 million more copies. And I think even more than that now, at the time of this video. What is it that you're holding up because you're not rejoicing over the little bit? You can't pass the test. The scripture says, he who is faithful in little is also faithful in much. He who is unjust in little is also unjust in much. And God trusts you with a little bit. Will you recognize that the process is working? Billy, I did a YouTube video and only got 100 views. You know what? If you did a live event and 100 people showed up, we call that a success. But because it's views on YouTube, you look at it as discouragement. Do you have the process working? There are things I've tried, principles I've learned, and I said, let me apply it, and I've gotten little results. But I got excited because the process worked. You have the process working. And whatever you do, when you see the little results, maybe you missed the mark, maybe it didn't happen the way you wanted it to happen. Whatever you do, listen, don't give up. Don't quit. Stay in the game. And I want to help you. Listen, if you look in the description of this video, like I said, all the good stuff is in the description of this video. I have a free resource that I want to just to help you to not give up, just to help you to accomplish your goals. And it's a whole bundle called You Can't Quit Now. It's an ebook. It's real quick and easy to read. It's an audio download. It's only 11 minutes. And it's a 3-part video series where I'm showing you what the Bible said about not giving up. And it's going to motivate you as you pursuing your goal. It's going to motivate you as you're enduring, as you're getting little results. When the temptation to come for you to get discouraged, this is going to motivate you to go even more. I know how discouraging it is when you do a live and only a few people show up, or you do an event and only few people show up, or you sell a product and only a few people buy. I know the discouragement. But listen, before you throw in the towel, look in the description, get that free gift. Also, watch this video here. It's called A Lesson That I Learned from a Farmer. Listen, the message I taught you today was the entree. This was the main course. Go ahead and finish it off with this dessert. It's only going to take 3 minutes. Watch this video. It's in the description of this video too. But watch this video about a lesson that I learned from a farmer. Listen, I hope this bless y'all. Make sure you subscribe.